Hi, I'm Sarah, and today I will be telling you the story of Brigid. Now, Brigid was a very special girl. She was both very kind and very cheeky. Two of the best things to be. I bet you're very kind and very cheeky as well, yeah? Brigid lived with her mummy on a farm on the edge of a little town in Ireland, which is where my mummy came from as well. The farm kept cows, and on the farm they made milk and butter and cheese. And they kept it all in a big building called the dairy. Now, Brigid was allowed to go anywhere she wanted in the farm and ran around the countryside, but she was not allowed to go into the dairy because that is where they kept all the milk and the butter and the cheese for themselves and for their customers. Oh, but Brigid really wanted to go into the dairy. The first time her mummy noticed she was special was when she was 5. Now, Brigid wasn't allowed in the dairy, but she really wanted to be there, so she came up with a very cheeky idea. The next morning, when her mummy said goodbye to her to go off and work in the farm, Brigid gave her a great big hug. Can we give ourselves a great big hug? And took the key to the dairy from her mummy's pocket and hid it behind her back. And her mummy didn't know, so her mummy went off to milk the cows, and Brigid went and unlocked. Can we all open the door together? And saw the dairy, and it was full of milk and cheese and butter, and then Brigid had a very kind idea. Brigid took all the milk from the shelves, can we all do it together? Oh, and all the butter and all the cheese and put it all in a bag and tied it up and put it on her back. And then she went into town. And any time she saw somebody who needed some food, she would give them something from her bag until by the end of the day her bag was empty, but her heart was filled. And then she came home and she saw her mummy standing in the empty dairy, devastated. All our hard work is gone. We've worked so hard and none of it's here. But when Brigid told her mummy what she had done with all the food, her mummy agreed that it was the kindest thing to do. So they went to bed and both said that they would just have to work twice as hard tomorrow. They got up really early and they went to milk the cows and brought the milk back to the dairy. But when they opened the door, it wasn't empty. It was full. It was more full than it had been the day before. Something that would have taken them months to make happened overnight, as if by magic. Well, Brigid was very special. Years passed and Brigid turned 11. And then her mummy needed to go to another town for a competition with their best cow, which meant somebody had to look after Brigid. And Brigid's daddy said he would. Now, Brigid's daddy lived in a big town and they didn't see each other very much. So Brigid's mummy thought this would be the best way for them to get to know each other a bit better. So she took Brigid to her daddy's and said, now, Brigid, be very kind and not too cheeky. And she went to the competition. Brigid's daddy lived in a big house because he made a lot of money and he was very proud of all the hard work he'd done. Every evening he would count out the money he had made that day, and then he would get a big money box, put it in the box and hide the box somewhere in the house. And then, as a treat, he would reach up on top of the fridge and take down a box of expensive chocolates and eat one as a reward. And put the box back on top of the fridge. Now, Brigid saw her daddy do this and she started to have a very cheeky but very kind idea. The next day when her daddy put on his hat and his coat and took his bag and went to work, Brigid searched the house for the box of money. She looked under beds. She looked above cupboards, but she couldn't find it. And then she thought, where would be the weirdest place to keep your money? Can you guess? I bet you can't guess. She found it in the washing machine. A very good hiding place. She took it out and took some of the money and then hid it again. And then she stood up on the kitchen counter and reached above the fridge and took the box of chocolates, and she took a few of the chocolates and then she put it back. And then she put a bag on her back and she went into town, and anyone she saw that needed some money, she gave them some money. And anyone she saw that looked like they could deserve a treat, like they needed a treat, she would give them a chocolate, until by the end of the day, her bag was empty and her heart was full. Now, Brigid did this for a week before her daddy started to notice something wasn't right. My money pile isn't getting bigger and my chocolates are running out. So he had an idea. The next day he put on his hat, put on his coat, took his bag and went off to work. But he didn't go to work. He hid under the kitchen windowsill and watched what was happening. And he saw Brigid take the money box and get up onto the kitchen counter in her dirty trainers and take some of the chocolates. And he said, this isn't good enough. And he said, Brigid, we are going to the mayor, because the mayor was the person that sorted out all the issues people had in the town. But the mayor was a very important person, so Brigid's daddy decided to wear his best clothes to impress him. He wore his best hat with a feather in it, and he wore his best ring. Oh, it looks a bit like this one. They went to the mayor's office, and Brigid's daddy said, now Brigid, wait here. I'm going to go and tell the mayor what you've done. And Brigid said, okay, daddy. And she gave him a great big hug. And then she went away. Brigid's daddy went in to see the mayor and he was angry. He said, Mr. Mayor, my daughter's been taking all the money that I worked so hard to earn and taking all the chocolates that I give myself as a treat and giving them to people. And the mayor said, I see. And Brigid's daddy said, I tell you something, if this doesn't improve, I swear, I am going to buy this ring on my... Where's the ring? Oh no. Can you guess what's happened? Yeah. When Brigid gave her daddy a great big hug, she slipped the ring off his finger. And then she went out into town and she took it to the bank and she swapped it for enough money to buy everybody fish and chips for dinner. Now, when the mayor heard about this, he couldn't stop laughing. And then everybody was laughing. Even Brigid's daddy. And Brigid's daddy and the mayor, they decided that they should set up a fund for other very clever, very cheeky and very kind children like Brigid. And this fund would mean that these children could go to university and become more kind, more clever and more cheeky. Now, when Brigid's mommy heard about all this, she was on the floor laughing. And she said, Brigid, you're going to do some amazing things. And Brigid said, I know that. But those are stories for another day. Thanks, everybody. Bye.